sell this house. I'm terrified of realtors.
There are two kinds of fears, rational and irrational. Being afraid of realtors is an irrational fear.
Is this a bad time?
You can really never go wrong with Meryl Streep. So, I'm Angie Baker. I'm the technology training and outreach specialist at MyBor. And I'm overcoming my fear of realtors, one presentation at a time. Right, John? So one of the things that we always strive to do here at MyBor is make sure that you can use the tools that we provide to the maximum potential. So a lot of what you've heard about today is the do's and don'ts, the whys you should and why you shouldn't care about certain pieces of technology. But really, when it comes down to it, in the context of our rules, you want to get that listing information out to your consumers in the best way that you possibly can so you can facilitate in that transaction. What we have seen more and more frequently is that our members want to be able to share information on social media. Yeah? Social media matters, right? A lot of people are really trying to figure out, okay, what are the best tools and what are the best methods of me getting information onto social media so I can cultivate those relationships. So to that end, we have a few different applications that you can use through MyBor to make sure when you're out there putting information, listing information specifically out on social media, that it facilitates that cooperation and compensation that Nicole was just talking about. That's the backbone of the BLC listing service. So there's a few different applications that you have. Matrix, everybody heard of Matrix? Okay, has anybody used it yet? Okay. When you are in Matrix, if you have an active listing, one of my favorite jokes in training classes right now, especially like listing classes, is who's got an active listing? It's kind of a joke right now, right? It's like, do we have an active listing? I don't know. With inventory this tight, it's really a struggle. But if you have an active listing and you log into Matrix, on the home screen of Matrix, you've got a little widget that says My Listings. If you click through your listings, your active listings, you can look it up, and when you enter through the BLC in that frame, in the little widget that says My Active Listings, the buttons that you'll see at the bottom of your listing returns, your listing results, are different than if you just do a regular normal search. You guys been there before? Okay, just want to make sure we're all on the same page. When you are looking at your own listing, the buttons that you have underneath allow you to do things that only you can do to your listings, like edit, change the pictures, add supplements or additional documents. And in the middle right there, do you guys see that button that says share? Where are we sharing? I don't know. So if you click on share, it's going to pop up this little box, again, only on your own personal listings. It's going to pop up with this standalone link that I can copy and I can paste anywhere I want because I am the owner of that data. Okay? If you post that standalone link, then any consumer that clicks through that posting is going to be taken to your client portal framework. So it keeps that branding message that you have within your client portal nice, clean, consistent. It's going to pop up in this very familiar view. Guys, I'll recognize this one, right? Okay, so that's one way that you can share a listing if you are the owner of that listing. You are the listing broker. It's all going to tie straight back to you. Keeps everything nice and clean. But going back to my joke of who has an active listing, the listing inventory is so tight. I didn't check it today, but we're averaging about 6,200 listings active listings in our service at any given time right now, give or take. We have 8,400 members. Okay, so listing inventory is a little tight. Not everybody has active listings because if you think about the membership and their engagement, many members have more than one listing, which means many members have less than one listing. All right, I'm really good at math. All right. So sometimes it might be beneficial if there is a listing that does not belong to you for you to maybe post that out on social media. I'll show you, I don't think that should be your primary method of content delivery, but sometimes you come across a listing, maybe it's in a farm area that you heavily concentrate in. Maybe it's your own neighborhood, and you say, I want to be the expert source of information in my own neighborhood, so I'm going to grab this listing that I don't have the listing contract out, but I want to share it to my network just to keep that top of mind that I am the expert in this area, and I want to make sure people know that, hey, here's a listing that I could get them more information about. There are a couple of tools, a couple of applications that you have available through your MyBore services that will accomplish this in a way that honors that internet data exchange agreement that sits in the foundation of your BLC listing service. So IDX stands for Internet Data Exchange, and that really is, you've seen it on the input pages before. It says IDX websites, and you say yes or no, and you're like, I don't even know what that is. So what an IDX website is it's your permission for other brokers to allow your listing to be searchable and findable by consumers on their website. Even though it's not your website, consumers can find it. Okay? So I'll use the MyBore website as an example. A consumer can go to my website, mybore.com, and they can search within a search parameters and pull up anybody else's listings. Okay, so you agree to that. That is called the IDX agreement, and it is really the foundation of the BLC listing service. So in order for that to remain healthy, if you use either, what I've got up here is MyBore Mobile. How many of you guys have the MyBore Mobile app on your phone, mobile device? Okay, so what the MyBore Mobile app will allow you to do is pull up a listing. You can search by it. You might just come across it. But you can pull up a listing, and then at the bottom of the screen, you'll have a share option. This is an Apple screenshot, but similar in Android devices as well. You'll have a share option. So from that share option, if I tap on that box, it's going to ask me, where would you like to share it? And it'll allow you access to any of your social media sites that you have, loaded on your phone. I'm a Gen Xer, so Facebook really is it for me. So if I post on Facebook, it's going to load that post, and I'll show you in a couple of screenshots what that looks like. All right, so it keeps it nice and clean, keeps the process nice and clean. The other app that allows you to do something similar that's provided through the MyBore member services is HomeSnap. How many of you guys have HomeSnap on your phones or mobile devices? Okay, so HomeSnap is the app for the broker public portal that MyBore is a member of. So HomeSnap allows you also to look up a property, and it gives you same icon, different placement of the box, the ability to share it on social media. So if I tap on the share box, pops up, says, where would you like to send it? If I tap on Facebook, then it starts my post for me. It puts in a beautiful picture of the house, tells them some information about it. The consumer can click through there. I can still, just like all my other Facebook posts, I can still say something about this. So I can say, hey, check out, here's a brand new listing in my neighborhood. Would love to have somebody in my sphere be my new neighbor, okay? You're way more creative at typing that stuff than I am. So you can say whatever it is that you want to say about that posting, but here's the important part about using one of these tools to share listing information that doesn't belong to you. If a consumer clicks through that post to look at more detail about that property, it is going to take them into whichever platform. It's going to take them into the framework of that platform, either MyBore Mobile or HomeSnap. I prefer HomeSnap. I just think it's prettier, by the way, just as an aside. But it's going to take them in. So one click in takes them to the full listing information, but it's properly attributed to the listing company. Okay? So I'm gonna pick on, since you're wearing your lovely branded shirt for all to see, I'm going to pretend this is a C21 Sheets listing. So I'll even say it's John Kramer's listing. How about that? So if a consumer clicks through that listing post and gets more information about that, somewhere within that listing, usually at the bottom, it says listing courtesy of C21 Sheets. You guys have seen that before. It's clearly marked within the BLC and anywhere you send out of there. But that just makes sure that process, that IDX agreement, that again is the foundation of our service, is honored, and that there's no consumer ambiguity as to who is responsible for that listing information. It's his fault. Okay? It's your fault. But it properly notes who initiated that listing information. So that way, of course, they can still work with me as their buyer's agent. But otherwise, if you're just going to grab some random URL off a ABC website and post it into your Facebook screen, you don't have that underlying permission to do so. All right? And if this was your listing, you would be able to reach out and say, hey, I didn't really give you permission to do that. So there might be consequences. All right. Now, are there other apps? Are there company apps out in the marketplace that will do this same thing? Yes, there are. So if you're going to experiment with those, I would just double check. If you click one time through, does it say who the listing belongs to, who that data belongs to? As long as it does, we're good. I can't guarantee that though, but for your MyBore services, those two apps work that way and will cover you based on that IDX agreement. Does that make sense? Okay. Now, so I just showed you how you can put listing information on your social media posts, but I would argue that maybe that's not your best form of content, because how many friends on social media do you have that are constantly reminding you about their business? Listing after listing, so real estate agents, listing after listing after listing after listing in your social media feed. If you are doing that to your social media friends, your contacts, you are going to get unfriended, 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 unfollowed, unfollowed, unfollowed. Because the social media platforms really are not built to be the listing distribution centers for your network. So instead, we also have some applications that have been incorporated into your MyBore services that can provide content that you can deliver via social media platforms, via email, that are free. I like free. If you've been in any of my classes, you know I like free. So there are other tools that are available to you that can provide you a little deeper content than just listing after listing after listing after listing on your social media pages. Make sense? One of them is Homes Connect, which is the agent side of Homes.com. So hopefully you're familiar with Homes.com now. On that MyBore dashboard page, I think I have another screenshot of it. Homes.com is going to be down, or Homes Connect rather, is going to be down in the useful links section at the bottom of the screen. So you can, if you have not ever gone into your Homes Connect account, you may have to connect that up, get your profile information in there set up. But there are a lot of included free tools that you have there that can provide you the content so you don't have to make everything up or purchase stuff. Okay. One of my favorite tools they have, it's not really social media, there are some social media tools here, but one of my favorite free tools that they have is a huge library of drip email campaigns that you can set clients up on. It's free, okay? And editable, so if you don't like exactly what their wording is, you can edit it. So there are lots and lots of tools like that. Homes Connect is a really good one for you. And then I mentioned earlier, I don't know if you remember, like 3 hours or 4 hours or however long ago I was talking to you at the beginning, I brought up an article from RE Technology. That is another free resource for you where you can say, this is the kind of topics that I want delivered to me, or these are the kind of topics that I am interested in. And that can provide you content not just for, again, your social media posts, although that is definitely a piece that's available, is social media graphics and article content that is interesting to anybody who's out in the real estate marketplace. But it can also keep you at the forefront of what's happening in your industry. So that's another tool that I highly recommend. And you can kind of play around within there and figure out which content you like the best, what's going to be most interesting to your sphere of influence, and start publishing that kind of content where they're, 5 tips to spruce up my house before spring so that it can hit the market ready to go. Let's click into that and see what that says. Okay, so that's just an example of an article. Yes, yeah. Now, not all of them are going to be relevant to the public. I get a lot of content delivered to me directly that's like real estate trainer specific that none of my sphere of influence would care about because they're not real estate trainers. It's specific to me. But there are lots and lots of pieces of content, again, graphics, articles, little tip sheets that are consumer ready that you can just grab and share. Okay? Other questions?